don't agree with anybody celebrating death, right? I couldn't care, any enemies, whatever. I'm not celebrating your death, right? So that is wrong. But let's stop sick of this false outrage. I've had this comment before on LBC, and it went viral. And basically, my viral comment at that time was, I am sick of it. It's hypocrisy. The right talk about free speech, yet they seem to want to shut anybody down on the opposing side. That is fascism, right? And I'm telling you, the papers like Telegraph and the Daily Mail, right? Yeah. They say it's just hurty words when they talk about migrants, just hurty words when they talk about people like LGBT people. But as soon as anybody stands up against any of their lot, this is it. So if we're going to have free speech, we have free speech on all sides, yeah? Not just one side, all sides, right? Okay. But within reason. They know you shouldn't be celebrating a death, and he apologised for that. But let's face it, right? Charlie Kirk, can I just tell you something about Charlie Kirk? You might not have known, right? He celebrated when the Democrats were killed that time. Do you remember there was four of them, a wife, two senators and their wives were killed, right? They were shot, yeah? Right. He celebrated when that happened, right? What I'm trying to say to you here is he wasn't a nice guy. And I'm not saying he should have celebrated his death, but let's not be all this false outrage that the papers want to do. It's false, okay? So
Abigail,
that.
So Abigail, do you think that in this vote that's taken place yesterday, which we're waiting for the result of, he should absolutely be retaining his position as president-elect of the Oxford Union in the next term, which is going to take up?
Well, that's up to people in the union.
No, but what would you do? What would you do if you were there?
Right, if he apologised, genuinely apologised, and said he was wrong, then I probably would say, yes, go ahead, keep your position, right, okay? But I think there's a lot of mounting out of molehills just lately, and I think people, if you want my personal opinion about stuff, I honestly think people take their side. Like the first guy, he's biased at the minute because of what's going on with Israel stuff. I don't agree with what's going on with all this.
Well, he's not biased. He's just saying it would be quite nice if people didn't, and this is not to do with this particular individual, it'd be quite nice if people didn't say put Zios in the ground. I mean,
yeah, I agree.
Fair point, isn't it?
But it's also, no, I agree with you. It's nasty on that side, but it's also nasty on the other side, right? And I'm sick of it all. I am sick of all of this nastiness and extremism.
I agree with you. Abigail, tell me something. You're a very passionate speaker. If you were invited to the Oxford Union, right, and you had dinner with them and you had a nice civilised debate and it was very robust, and then they celebrated your murder, would you think twice about going in the first place?
No, but it depends. Okay. So let's, for instance,
because I would.
Well, okay, you're a nice guy. They're not going to celebrate your death, right? But if you were saying stuff like, if you were saying some really outrageous, like KKK stuff, yeah, great white replacement theory, which what Charlie Kirk talked about, right? If you were saying stuff that was really, really bad, right? You said at the beginning of your speech, you said there's consequences to free speech, right? Yep. Well, maybe some of the consequences was, I'm not saying it's right, celebrating the death of somebody who says stuff like, well, black women are thick, black women are stupid, and I wouldn't go in a plane. He said, I wouldn't go in a plane piloted by a black guy. Basically,
but you know what? Yeah, but you know what? But the reason, if you look at the context, and I'm not here to defend Charlie Kirk because people can go and look at his videos themselves. My understanding of that comment was around DEI policies, right? Where he wasn't saying, the implication was not that, black people can't fly planes. It was that he was implicating and making a point about the fact that DEI hires are not always based on merit and qualification, which is something, by the way, Abigail, someone who was nominated for my prize, the Contrarian Prize, Lizzie Nichol, in the RAF in this country, who was in charge of HR, made that exact point and resigned in protest about the fact that DEI targets were dictating who should become RAF pilots, for heaven's sake.
But then are we saying they're not as qualified because they're black? Because I think that's not very fair.
No, Abigail, no, absolutely not. You're missing the point completely. Sorry to be pointed about this, Abigail. It's not aimed at you. I just think we need to be clear. No. That's not what's being said. What's being said is don't positively discriminate by skin colour, base it on people's merit, because frankly, if you're flying a plane in a fighter combat aircraft in a war zone, skin colour is not the primary thing. It's your competence that actually matters. What's wrong with that?
Well, how do we know that? Just what I'm saying is, he doesn't know. He doesn't know that the black guy got it because he's a great guy. He doesn't know that. He's assuming. He's assuming.
Well, he's making a point. He was making a point about DEI policy. So, Abigail, all I'm saying is, I'm not saying that I agree with everything Charlie Kirk's ever said, because I may do, I may not. I haven't read it. I haven't listened to everything he's ever said. All I'm saying is, on this particular kind of thing, we need to be very careful about what we're actually calling out, what we're getting angry about, because I think the point he was alluding to is something that I think is actually an important point to consider. Abigail, on this particular one, you're saying if he apologises, should we move on from this?
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, look, right, I just think, I'm going to tell you this at a greater point with everything going on in this world right now, in Britain particularly, right? I don't like extremism on all sides, and I'm sick of it, right? Yep. As somebody that's working class, that just never even been to university, okay? It's way out of my thing. All I'm saying is, is that really we need to be more pragmatic with things and start toning everything down. And everybody needs to tone down. But unfortunately, right, the right are on this massive march at the minute. That's making the left go angry. The left then do their thing. That makes the right go angry. And you know what? I'm sick of all of it. Look, right,
you and me agree on that, Abigail.
All of it.
One of the questions you said just a minute ago is how does this make me feel?
Yeah.
And scared. It's making my children scared. I'm scared. So just a bit of background. My wife's father is British. She was born in Watford. But because she was born before 2006 and her parents weren't married, she took her mum's nationality, which is she's a dual Finnish-American citizen. Through her American nationality, she got indefinite to leave to remain when she was 2.
Okay.
She's lived in this country her whole life. She has worked in care homes. She's currently working with drug and alcohol misuse, so helping people of our society get clean and better themselves. And my 14-year-old daughter came home from school after kind of hearing bits and pieces and said, "Is Mum going to be taken away?"
Because people with indefinite leave to remain have been put on the list by Farage and his mates, and now Katie Lamb appears to be joining in, or going further, arguably.
And you know, the Tories are only doing it because they're losing so much in the polls that they see what the rhetoric Reform are doing. Maybe we can pull some voters back if we just copy them, and kind of going down that route. And, like my wife has quite a serious health condition. She does get some help from the state from it. She has, like I said, she's paid into the system. Her father's British, paid into the system her whole life. And Zia Yusuf saying, "Oh, sorry, you won't be able to get that anymore," just because what exactly? She was born in Watford and lived here. How is my wife not culturally appropriate? She's
culturally coherent.
Coherent. So she is as mixed as they come. Her grandfather is Indian, her grandmother is Finnish, and my children, they have, for me, they're about as culturally coherent as you can imagine, because they see the British culture, they see the Indian culture, they see a Finnish culture, and they accept everybody for who they are, regardless. For me, that's being culturally coherent, not just a single track mind. For me, if you're not white, you're not welcome. And but my wife is white, but does that mean she's okay, or does that mean she's not okay?
I don't know. I don't. What did you say to your 14-year-old?
I didn't know what to say. I just said, "Oh, it's just all blasé. It's just ignore it, darling. It's fine. Don't worry, nothing's going to happen." Like, what am I? I don't know. Right? I'm scared. I don't know what I'm supposed to say.
Well, I can say, and it's not much comfort to say to you, "Oh, from what you've told me, I'm sure she doesn't mean you," because how many people listening will think, "Well, I think she might mean me. I don't know what she means by culturally coherent." And here it is. All I did was Google Katie Lamb racist, and here it is. This is her. "It's easy to dismiss uncomfortable truths as, quotes, racist, end quotes. The British establishment often does." Because nothing says anti-establishment like working at Goldman Sachs and then becoming an advisor to various Conservative MPs. That's a well-trodden path for cultural rebels throughout the ages. And, of course, people who do racism remain very cross about being called racist or being accused of racism. But what do you hear when you're told that they will also need to go home? What that will leave is a mostly but not entirely culturally coherent group of people. Oh, mate. you're quite distressed by this, and I don't like it when that happens on my watch, because I like to comfort people.
It's just so I saw a post on Facebook the other day, and it was just a stupid little post like, would you sign up for World War III if it came about? And there was comments on there such as, not for the P word Britain, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
And where have we gone wrong? What has happened to us as a society that is okay? It doesn't, and it comes. I'm sorry, it comes from the top down. It comes from Farage and Zia and all the rest of them. That kind of, they're making that those that are.
Johnson arguably was an earlier adopter of it, because it's only 12 years since the Sun described Farage as racist or words he said on this programme as racism. Even the Sun knew racism when it saw it in 2014, and then everything changed. Everything sort of began to change. But Johnson and his talk of smiling pickaninnies and women in letterboxes probably played a much bigger part in this process. Because, the fellow using the N-word at the football in Coventry, or the person using the P-word on your Facebook page, are essentially being told by people like Boris Johnson, Nigel Farage, honest Bob Jenrick, and now Katie Lamb, that they're in the right.
And it's, you've got GB News, for example. I keep, everything they share is, an immigrant did this, and I'm not saying that what the crimes that they've committed are absolutely abhorrent, and it should be.
They are as abhorrent as they would be if they had been committed by someone who's not an immigrant. There's no mystery here or difficulty.
No. But the point I'm trying to make is currently down in Devon at the moment. There's quite a lot of it going on, quite a lot of reports of exactly the same crimes.
Right.
And I keep forwarding them saying, do you fancy putting this on your news page? Because, what's the difference? There is no difference. It's exactly the same, except for actually this doesn't follow our narrative because they're not an immigrant or they're not brown. So actually we won't report on that.
I think it was 40% of the men arrested at the protests outside that hotel in Epping had previously come to the police's attention over domestic abuse allegations. And these statistics matter, They really do. And so do these words. And I've got nothing to add to what Neil said. You could not only hear what he said, you could also hear the pain in his voice. And that's not there by accident. It's put there by people like Katie Lamb.
I always find this bizarre, because whenever we look for the money, we never say, how about we get the money from the people who have got the money? We've got a total political failure in the fact that we've got billionaires. I mean,
billionaires who pay, but billionaires who do pay a lot of tax,
but don't pay nowhere near enough in terms of percentage.
Right.
We all know this, and that's the other thing. I wish you'd have asked an economist this, but whenever they say, "Oh, there's no growth," why are the billionaires getting richer then? If there's no growth, why are they growing?
Personal growth.
Yeah, personal wealth growth. Why are they growing?
So, do you believe in a wealth tax?
Oh, absolutely. I think without it, we're sunk, as was said by Thomas Piketty back in 2014.
Yeah,
only 11 years or so.
So wealth tax, capital gains tax on properties over $1.5 million. You'd go for that too?
Property tax on not on over $1.5 million. No, I mean we've got like the Candy Brothers building in Knightsbridge, $102 million, wasn't they going for? I mean that's there's a fair bit there, isn't there? There's loads of loopholes. We've had it so many times, haven't we? Google, Starbucks. On the continent they do much better in France and Italy, getting money out of these people. We're useless at it because it's the donorship, isn't it? It's the donorship of these political parties, for God's sake.
Okay, so you want to tax the rich.
Ready to show some compassion, some mercy to Prince Andrew? Good morning.
Not an ounce.
Okay, so tell me why.
Unbelievable. Jonathan Aiken, fair dues, comes on. As you said, he's had his road to Damascus moment.
He has.
He was called the perjury. When he was actually in prison that first time, he actually acted as a teacher to the prisoners in there.
He taught people to read and write. Yep, he did.
Well done. Well remembered, right?
Yeah.
And since then, he's become a reverend, right?
Yep.
So you can see there's a significant change. And he's asked for forgiveness, right?
Yeah. Is it the remorse? Because, again, we don't know that Prince Andrew has committed any crime. We do know he's lied. There's no doubt about that in media interviews. But we don't know. Is it the fact that he seems to just show such self-entitlement still?
He is hidden behind smoke and mirrors since this whole story started gathering, like for years. And, the car crash interview. I mean, if you must have communication PR experts around you.
Oh, my God, they're surrounded by them, Paul.
How was that interview even allowed to be broadcast?
Once it's... afterwards he told his mother, the late Queen, he thought it had gone rather well. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did know that.
He's a guy I'd like reviewing the newspapers in the morning. That'll be interesting. Paul, thank you. Very good points you make. Is it the lack of remorse that we see from Andrew that makes it so different from, and he won't mind me saying this, the disgraced former Conservative cabinet minister turned priest, Jonathan Aitken? I've known Reverend Aitken for years.